When I was a kid, science geeks were picked last for the playground basketball game. Their ability to pronounce Latin names of common plants didn't enhance their popularity, and girls didn't go for boys who collected bugs in jars. But times, they a changed, and Only a Game's Karen Given recently attended an event in Westerly, Rhode Island that may help elevate the social standing of the empirically advantaged.
It's 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and the opening horn of the 9th annual Rhode Island BioBlitz is only an hour away. While participants check in and get a map of the site, the 500-acre Grills Preserve in southern Rhode Island, organizer David Gregg uses a blue marker to scribble numbers into a chart on a large easel.
I'm posting the records, the BioBlitz records.
A BioBlitz is a 24-hour event where hundreds of scientists, both professional and amateur, run around and document every living thing they can find. Gregg is with the Rhode Island Natural History Survey. He starts with a count of all the species that can theoretically be found in the state of Rhode Island. In some categories, a successful BioBlitz will only identify 80 or 90 of more than 1,000 possibilities. But the scientists are at a bit of a disadvantage. Some of the species in question haven't actually been seen in the state in decades.
This is the first BioBlitz where we have a decent chance of seeing a black bear. There's a black bear that came into Rhode Island several weeks ago. It was spotted in a whole sequence of towns coming down from the north, and then it was sighted last week in Westerly, just down the river from here. So we're very excited to have a black bear this year. We'll see how that goes.
The Natural History Survey picks a different site every year, alternating between coastal and inland parks and nature preserves. It's not only fun practice for scientists, but Harvey Perry, president of the Westerly Land Trust, says the BioBlitz helps to preserve the land by creating an inventory of what's there and what needs to be protected.
There are ponds and granite outcroppings and lagoons and streams, and there's swamp and marsh and pine barrens, and it's all kinds of stuff. So if we were to hire people to do an inventory here, it would cost a fortune. And for us, it's virtually free. And we'll now know what we have.
Inside a couple of large white tents, BioBlitzers stake out a spot on one of the work tables and set up their microscopes. But before they can head out into the preserve for samples, each team must come up with a name.
Cladonia crazies, I guess.
Okay, you got it. Cladonia crazies. You got it. All right.
Wait, what's a cladonia?
Cladonia is a little fruticose lichen, like the British soldiers. You're probably familiar.
I know very little about lichen. Tell me who you are.
I'm Doug Green. I'm a lichenologist.
A lichenologist, quite clearly, is someone who studies lichen. But I'm surprised to learn that a malacologist studies snails, clams, and mussels, and a hymenopterist studies ants, bees, and wasps. BioBlitzes are held all over the United States, and Green has been joining his fellow specialists at the Rhode Island BioBlitz for the past 8 years.
You see the same people every year, and you get to see different habitats. And there's always the excitement of finding a new species or species distribution. And it's just plain fun and just making inventory.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! All right. I got one. Okay, good. All right.
As David Gregg sounds the opening horn, someone holds up a specimen he found crawling on his workbench and can identify on site. While no species is too small or too common to be counted, Gregg says everyone here wants to be the one who finds the rare plant or animal.
We're really all naturalists because we want to be famous. Oh, is that the David Gregg who discovered the Cicindela dorsalis population? Yes, I think it is. Or is that the Harvey Perry who found that population of, Polygonum cuspidoides? Yes, I think it might be. So, that's what gets the people here.
The big warbler.
Norm Dudziak and Tom Kutcher hike into the woods to set traps for freshwater invertebrates. Neither is an expert in the field, but the team leader can't arrive until later, and Norm and Tom need to get a head start on collecting samples if they're going to have any hope of a good showing. Less than 10 minutes after entering the preserve, Dudziak and Kutcher spot their first sight, a slow-moving stream just 50 yards or so off the main trail. While Norm sets his trap, Tom uses a net to see what he can find. Tom dips the net into the water and skims along the bottom of the stream. He painstakingly picks through the mud and muck and drops at least a dozen unique samples into his first collection bag.
The invertebrates are the gold mine for species.
Because there's so many different ones.
So many of them, yeah.
I mean, those are tiny, tiny.
Yeah, I have no idea what they are.
I don't even know if I would recognize that as something other than a piece of dirt.
Yeah, it's got more legs.
The Grills Preserve is normally a serene place, but during the BioBlitz, the site is practically overflowing with scientists. The mammal team is setting traps. An algae specialist from the University of Rhode Island is collecting water samples. Two guys named Jeff and Noel are scouring the woods for fungi. And Keith, a graduate student from Syracuse, New York, is collecting all the moss he can find. Tom and Norm follow crashing noises that sound like they could be coming from a moose into a sphagnum bog, only to be disappointed to discover that the mammal in question won't even be added to the final BioBlitz count.
It looks like people. That's people over there.
Oh, darn. The mysterious people.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Less than 24 hours later, Friday afternoon's calm vibe has been replaced by a bit more urgency. The spider expert's microscope isn't working. The fungi team still has a dozen unidentified samples, and David Gregg realizes that no one has remembered to count the butterflies.
Butterflies have always been tough. The butterfly people have always had an uphill climb, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh. We are getting skunked.
Most of the BioBlitzers slept in tents on the site, if they slept at all. They've hiked over hills, canoed up streams, and lugged traps and collection bags all over the 500-acre preserve. Lou Perotti, the conservation programs coordinator for the Roger Williams Park Zoo in Providence, hasn't given much thought as to whether BioBlitz is a sport, but he smiles at the proposition.
Oh, it's certainly athletic, and yeah, there's a bit of friendly competitiveness. Who can find the rarest thing? Who can find the most? You have very high-level biologists and taxonomists working right alongside citizen scientists, which is fantastic. Everybody walks away learning something, or at least having a better appreciation for the biota of Rhode Island.
Microscopes down! Okay, that's BioBlitz 2008, and we will now add up the results, and in a few minutes we will announce the winners.
Greg builds suspense by announcing this year's count category by category. It was, in fact, a bad year for butterflies, but the fish team broke the previous record by 7. The botany team found some extremely rare plants, including one that had never been observed in the state and another that hadn't been seen here since 1921. But like every good sporting event, there has to be a winner, and Greg seems confident in his choice.
Now, the mosses. The BioBlitz record is 16. And that, was probably me and Rick Enser going, I don't know, those two look different. Let's count these. And the Standing Stones gathered 70 species of mosses. 70. So the moss team totally wins the prize for the best team effort this year. Most improved and the overall best team effort.
But what does the Moss team get for their efforts? Certainly there's a trophy or a plaque or at least a ribbon.
Bragging rights.
So there is no prize.
Bragging rights. Maybe next year we'll come up with some, certificates suitable for framing.
The 2008 Rhode Island BioBlitz documented 1,111 species, besting the previous record by 100. For Only a Game, I'm Karen Gibbon in Westerly, Rhode Island.